Alright, so Charleston White and Vlad are reconnecting, and if you know the history here, you already know this is going to rub Boosie the wrong way. Here's the backstory. Charleston White had stopped appearing on VladTV because of his ongoing beef with Boosie, specifically because Charleston had made comments about his kids. Out of what seemed like a show of loyalty, Vlad pulled Charleston from the platform, which effectively cut off one of Charleston's revenue streams. Now, some would argue that move was more of a favor to Boosie than a business decision, especially considering that Boosie himself actively engages in that kind of back-and-forth conflict, and so does his son Tootie Ra. So the original issue was really Boosie's problem to manage, not Vlad's. Fast forward to now, Boosie has made it clear that his relationship with Vlad is strictly professional, nothing more. And Vlad's response? Fine by him. He stated that moving forward, their interactions will be purely business, the way it probably should have been from the start. Vlad also noted that Boosie understanding the numbers behind the platform matters, and that he never had any hard feelings toward him. He's actually glad Boosie is doing his own thing. A part 2 of Boosie's interview is expected to drop, so there's more to come on that front. What did come up in the interview that's worth noting, Boosie went after Gucci Mane over a situation involving Gucci getting robbed. According to the account, Boosie cooperated with law enforcement against his own brother in connection with a bank account issue. Gucci himself reportedly didn't directly point fingers at Boosie, but 3 other witnesses who were present, including an off-duty officer and a cameraman, did. The cooperation piece is simply documented fact. Boosie also defended Young Thug's reputation, arguing that Young Thug isn't an informant, though critics pointed out that Young Thug has publicly praised Boosie, which raises its own questions about the logic there. As for Charleston White, he's confirmed that he and Vlad have been in communication for a while, and that an interview is scheduled to drop within the next few days. That one will be worth watching. Shifting over to Big Meech, he's been busy since his release, making the rounds with interviews and showing up at fashion events. He's clearly focused on rebuilding and generating income, and that's a reasonable move. The tension between him and 50 Cent appears to have cooled off significantly. 50 has largely moved on, and the Tawama Cowan documentary that was floated at one point seems unlikely to ever materialize. There's also some uncertainty about whether the BMF series continues beyond its current run and whether Big Meech's brother will be involved in any future projects with 50. A documentary released recently did detail the brother's own account of the operation, framing him as a key architect of what BMF became. Since then, the 2 brothers appear to have reconciled enough to maintain a working relationship. On another note, Lil Reese has announced he's eligible for parole on August 8th. Hopefully he gets home, especially for the sake of his kids. Nothing more to add there. Jim Jones was spotted wearing what can only be described as a coat clearly not intended for his frame, a belly-length jacket that looked like it might have been made for someone half his size. He wore it confidently, so there's that.
Moving on, Masika went public calling out Klay Thompson over allegations that he was unfaithful to Megan Thee Stallion. Now, Masika is the same person who has a child with Fetty Wap and has been connected to multiple men over the years, so her stepping up as a voice of outrage here is raising a few eyebrows. She's a reality television personality who thrives on keeping herself in the conversation, and this feels very much in line with that pattern. The reality is, nobody outside of Megan and Klay actually knows what happened between them. She alleged cheating. Klay hasn't responded publicly. There are plenty of other possibilities. Maybe the relationship ran its course, maybe there were conditions he wasn't ready for, maybe something else entirely. Without the full picture, the speculation only goes so far. And finally, Iceman drops May 15th through Republic Records, which suggests the label is at least somewhat invested in giving it proper support. We'll see how that plays out. Nas's casino is officially opening. His investment group secured the necessary approvals and the project is moving forward. Meanwhile, Jay-Z's bid for a casino in Times Square was denied, so in this particular race, Nas comes out ahead. Now, to be clear, nobody is reopening the rap beef debate here, but there's a pattern worth acknowledging. Ever since that chapter closed, it has seemed like whenever Nas makes a significant move, Jay-Z isn't far behind with something of his own. Nas launches an investment group, Jay-Z launches one too. The difference is, Nas's group has been putting up real results, successful exits across multiple major companies, Ring Doorbell, Casper Mattresses, Pluto TV, among others. The portfolio has been quietly impressive. So on the business side of things, Nas has been holding his own in a serious way. Shifting over to T.I., he's taking Psycho Music to court over a catalog dispute. The core of his claim is that when he sold a portion of his music catalog back in 2017, the original deal included a clause allowing him to repurchase his masters for a maximum of $3 million. The original sale price was never made public, but based on the scale of his catalog, estimates suggest the figure was likely somewhere in the range of $20 to $30 million. If that's accurate, a $3 million buyback clause would have been a significant win for T.I. down the line. The problem is, Psycho is now reportedly demanding $52 million to return the masters, a number that appears to directly contradict the terms T.I. says were originally agreed upon. According to court documents, the buyback price was supposed to be calculated using a specific formula based on gross receipts between May 2023 and April 2024, minus royalty compensation owed, multiplied by 12, and notably excluding streaming revenue. Until this goes to full trial and everything gets disclosed publicly, the complete picture remains unclear, but T.I. appears to be betting that the original contract language is on his side. Over to Pooh Shiesty, his attorney Cohen has formally withdrawn from the case and is being replaced by 2 lawyers based in Dallas. Cohen made a point of stating publicly that the case is winnable, though it's worth noting he's obligated to maintain confidence in a case he was actively representing. 100 Wack weighed in with a predictable take, suggesting Cohen stepped away because he saw a loss coming. Cohen addressed that and moved on without much engagement. Whatever the internal reasoning was, the legal team is changing, and the outcome of that case remains to be seen. Sexy Red dropped new photos to keep herself in the conversation. That's the move and it works, so there's not much more to say about that. Trick Daddy shared his very specific personal preferences regarding women and physical appearance in an interview. The details don't need repeating. The broader point is that given how Trick Daddy looks these days, the commentary landed more as unintentional comedy than anything else. Safe to say the years have not been particularly kind visually, and unprompted opinions of that nature probably aren't doing him any favors. Ice Spice has been in the headlines again, this time over photos that raised questions about whether she's had cosmetic procedures. Some observers pointed to what they described as unusual proportions, particularly in her lower body. Nothing confirmed, just the internet doing what it does. And then there's Rick Ross, who shared a story about a night that went sideways after he decided to try liquid psilocybin while watching Will Smith's film Emancipation alone in his home theater. By his own account, he pushed things too far. He went from being fully immersed in the film to losing the plot entirely, ending up on the shower floor praying, with soap suds seemingly spreading throughout the house in ways he still can't fully explain. He closed it out with a genuine word of caution to anyone considering a similar experience. Ross has always had a gift for storytelling, and this one did not disappoint. The visual of the suds taking over the house alone makes it worth a listen. As the story goes, when emergency services arrived and woke Ross up, he was reportedly in a bad mood, not because of the situation itself, but because he knew he was going to have to restart Emancipation from the beginning. That detail alone says everything. Liquid psilocybin is not something to take lightly, and Ross himself made that point clearly. Consider this a cautionary tale delivered with full Rick Ross energy.
Moving on. A woman has come forward claiming to be Big Meech's secret daughter and is requesting a DNA test to confirm it. The timing raises some obvious questions. Meech is freshly out of federal prison, and while he's been making moves, he's not exactly sitting on a fortune at this stage. So the motivations behind the timing of this claim are worth thinking about. DJ Khaled's latest record featuring Future and Lil Baby is underperforming. That's notable because a Future feature typically carries significant streaming weight on its own. By current projections, the track appears to be crawling toward around 10 million streams, and when you factor in all platforms combined, the total might reach 20 million. For a record with this level of investment and star power behind it, those numbers fall well short of expectations. Fabulous sent a direct warning to Gucci Mane, keeping it brief and unambiguous, essentially telling him not to test him. Short, pointed, and clear. Whether anything comes of it remains to be seen. On a more curious note, Fabulous showed up to a Roc Nation event, specifically a BMW unveiling that Jay-Z couldn't attend. That raised an obvious question. Is Fabulous still connected to Roc Nation in any official capacity? A quick search through their roster tells an interesting story. He's not listed under music management, not under publishing, not under distribution. Angie Martinez is there, Fat Joe is there, Fabulous? Nothing. And yet, he's still wearing the Roc chain and showing up to the events. It appears he may simply be invited out of long-standing association and personal relationships dating back to his time connected to Jay-Z. There's no formal business arrangement visible anywhere. He's just there, showing up for the culture apparently. Royce the 5'9" addressed the ongoing questions about Slaughterhouse in a recent statement, saying that what happened with Crooked I and Joel Ortiz never felt like a traditional beef to him. It felt more like a betrayal. And because of that, he's made his position clear. A reunion is not happening. Slaughterhouse as a collective is done. He says he'll speak on his own solo work going forward, and that's where his focus is. And finally, Boosie has taken on a role as a hype presence for the Atlanta Hawks, showing up to games and engaging with the crowd. By most accounts, he's not being compensated for it. He does it voluntarily. He's called it performance, but honestly, it reads less like a character and more like his natural personality on full display. Whatever it is, it keeps him visible.